Hey everybody, this is Ceramic. I'm making this video to show you some basic techniques for creating your own transitions in electronic music. So these are noise sweeps, risers, fallers, um, impacts, and generalized transitions. So this tutorial is not to make any amazing sounds. What this is really for is to show you the basic techniques behind it. That way you're going to be able to make your own sounds. So we're going to start with the synthesis part. Now what I've done is set up a Thor, reset the patch. That way we have a completely initialized patch. It ends up with an analog oscillator. Real simple, okay? And what we're gonna do, we don't want this analog oscillator right now. We're gonna change it to noise. And it's kind of a lackluster noise effect right now. This is one single oscillator going through the low pass ladder filter set to the 24 dB type 2, going through our amp envelope. And so what we're gonna do here is take our velocity all the way down, turn our envelope all the way up, and turn the frequency down. Now, according to our amplifier and filter envelopes, we end up with a short decay, right? So you're going to want something longer perhaps. And that's a really simple noise impact. It doesn't matter what key you play on, high, low, it's always going to sound the same. A way to make this move a little more is to put the chorus on. And now you have a kind of a phasey chorus effect. But you can also do a few other things to make this move a little more for you. As we turn the frequency down, you can turn the keyboard value up and have it really dark down at the bottom and really bright up top. Now, to have it move a little more, we're going to go into our mod matrix and select LFO1 as our source. As our destination, we're going to select filter 1 and the frequency. And then we're going to put a little bit of the amount in there. Tempo sync it, key sync it so that it starts when we hit play. And then we can have something along these lines. As it falls and creates kind of a movement to it, right? Now we can do the exact opposite, create a rising noise source. I'm going to zero out my LFO here, and we're just simply going to take the decay down and take the attack up. And it stops. So and I took the keyboard down, so no matter how it plays, you can use the 12 dB filter too to get a little more high end. There you go. And so that's a very basic white noise sweep. And we're going to use something different here. We're going to try the static. Now, this has a density control, and when you turn it up, you basically end up with white noise again. Same sort of thing. But when you turn it right back down, you've kind of a dying telephone. You can modulate this or automate it. And using the band with the bandwidth, you can get kind of a singing filter type sound. Which we can also do with the resonance. So if we go back down to white noise and turn our resonance up a little bit, get our chorus on, and turn it right up. And this is our feedback. There we go. So pretty simple, pretty easy. All we need to do there is, use our noise oscillator. Now for pitch sweeps, we're going to go back to our analog noise or our analog source and change it from LFO to the global envelope and oscillator 1 to pitch. Now we're using this envelope over here, and we've got delay, attack, hold, decay, sustain, release. So right now it does nothing. All we have is our filter sweep in. So we're going to take that out, open up our filter all the way. And we have a simple saw wave. Our chorus is still on, so we're going to turn that off. And we're back. But we're going to change this. So using our global envelope, we get kind of your classic zap laser sounds. Now we can use this to create falling pitch sweeps, or we can use a high attack, hold down 2 keys, and get a riser. We can use this with chords too. And when you have your sustain, you can actually choose where in semitone steps where it's going to land. Now something really great about the global envelope is that it can loop. You could start that real low, or you can even use that as a tonal source if you want. Although not a very great one. Anyway, if you put it to tempo sync, you can now have it change. And if we put an LFO in, LFO 1 to oscillator 1 pitch, you can have this fall. Add some delay and some chorus. And you got kind of a unique falling, falling thing, and we can do it the exact opposite. Depending upon where you play on the keyboard. If we turn the polyphony down to 1 and use this as mono legato, turn our portamento on, And there is some examples of pitch falling. You can add other oscillators in, tune them differently. For example, an octave down. With different waves. Any oscillators you like. And we have to use our LFO1 in multiple spots here in order to have all of our oscillators work together. So oscillator 2 pitch, oscillator 3 pitch. You can have differing amounts too. All right, so we've got kind of some ideas of synthesis. And again, this isn't to make fantastic transition sounds. It's to show you kind of some of the ideas that you can do with synthesis alone. All right, so let's get out of Thor and move into our NNXT. Here we are. So what I've done with the sampler is to create some very basic sounds from, excuse me, that was browse patches, from our Reason factory library. So this is nothing special. You don't need Reason 10 or anything like that to do this. Browse samples I used here in wavetables, going in from other samples, Reason factory sound bank, other samples, wavetables, gritty, one wave. And then I took a basic crash here, browse samples, and crash ecstasy 5. So this was coming out of drums. Same thing with the Nazca 2. These are, I'll solo them for you. Here's our crash, which I looped. You'll see down here. I looped these amounts here to create that buzzing sound. Gritty 1 here, I simply turned down the volume a little bit. And in the back, you'll notice I've routed them all separately to a different set of RV 7000s. Put them all into a line mixer, and we have that. The last thing is a kick drum. Really simple. This is an orchestral kick drum from the orchestra library. And so all together, what we end up with So I like it either on the high C, where you can hear kind of that, that's the Nazca 2 sample with a pitch envelope on it, or a little farther down, an octave down here, which is a really huge impact. Again, very simple. You'll see here what I've done with these is I've changed their amp and mod envelopes in order to make them all fit in. And Nazca here has some pitch with a high attack and a high release. Gritty 1 is sent into the RV7000 using the echo algorithm. And then we've got Crash Ecstasy 5 that's sent into the RV7000 with a simple plate on it. And I looped it to give it that sound. So that's an example of an impact you can create. using nothing but Reason stock samples. And we're going to go ahead and move on out of the NNXT into a much simpler sampler, the NN19. So what I've done is I've taken the output of the NN19 right here and put it into an RV7000 fully wet with the reverse algorithm, and then compress the output of that. And so what that gives us is a much less involved impact, but still something pretty cool. And you can play this polyphonically to get multiple drums. And if you just flam it a little, you get huge hits like that. And you can turn it up, compress it a little more, and it'll give you that kind of, you know, drum impact type sound and a nice pre-delay. And there we go. So what I hope this tutorial is done for you is to show you some of the things that we can do using synthesizers like Thor, samplers like the NNXT, and then much less advanced samplers like the NN19, using nothing but our factory sound and our orchestra libraries. You've got percussion here where you can get a ton of fantastic, sounds, and you can use pretty much anything: cymbals, bass drums. All of those placed into reverbs and delays are fantastic sources for using, creating impacts. And then things like noise and pitch sweeps are very easy to do in your basic synthesizers. You can do this in Thor, you can do this in Europa, you can do this in Subtractor. You can even do it in NNXT if you want. We could sweep all these samples up using something like a pulsar. So let's take the LFO output here to the oscillator pitch, and this is going to be global. Oh, excuse me. Because I don't have Thor on. Or pardon me, the NNXT on. Try that one more time. See, at audio rates, gives you something totally different. Square waves. Here's your alarm sound. If we set the phase to 90 degrees and key sync it, you can get really interesting effects using something as simple as an LFO sent to the global oscillator pitch of your samplers. So don't just think of it as an effect that you can use on synthesizers. Again, I hope this has been of some help. I hope you guys enjoy it. Please leave me some comments in the thread that I'm posting this in, as well as on YouTube where I'm going to put it. All right, Ceramic out.